Zombies players literally want only one thing, and it's disgusting. Equal representation as multiplayer and blackout. Zombies may have started out as a bonus in Call of Duty games to give players that extra co-op experience that the game really wouldn't have otherwise. But things have drastically changed since then. Zombies is no longer just an extra game mode, it's now a core tenet of Call of Duty and the principal single player and cooperative offering within Black Ops 4. While the amount of content released at the launch of the game is very important to bringing as many people as possible into the fold of the latest game release, just as important is convincing them to keep on playing. The Zombies mode in Black Ops 4 did a very good job at the first part of that, bringing people in with the amount of content there was for Zombies at launch. What it has absolutely and utterly failed at is the second part of that, player retention. The million-dollar question for game developers has always been, once you have an established player base, how do you keep them playing your game? The answer for that, for the other two core tenets of Black Ops 4, Multiplayer and Blackout, is twofold. Firstly is the introduction of the tier system, offering players a combination of loot boxes and specific rewards that correlate to playtime within the game. The second way Treyarch is keeping the Multiplayer and Blackout communities interested in the mode is through regular small content updates. Whether that be like adding the Bowie knife into Blackout, or releasing entire new multiplayer maps for free. For me, it seems when talking to my friends that play both Multiplayer and Blackout, they're pretty content with the endgame reward system that is in place for Blackout and Multiplayer. Granted, there are still massive issues there, namely the egregious microtransaction system and the extreme lack of signature weapons available within the reserves. But switching over to Zombies, the methods of player retention pale in comparison to Multiplayer and Blackout. Currently in Zombies, there is no tier reward system. You get no bonuses for playing the game. The true fact is, in today's gaming climate, a small trickle of Nebulium Plasma does not keep people coming back and playing Zombies. The games which are thriving within the video game industry right now are those with robust rewards and progression options for simply playing the game. And there was hope that Treyarch had recognized this with the possibility of adding tier progression to Zombies when they said this in a recent news post over on Reddit. Everyone earns Blackmarket tier progression twice as fast during the event. And new ways for all players to boost tier progression through playing the game are on the way, including daily bonuses. Now, Multiplayer and Blackout have seen that daily bonus in the form of the daily tier skip. What we have yet to see is, quote, new ways for all players to boost tier progression through playing the game. Now, this could obviously mean one of two things. The first is that when they say all players, what they're really referring to is the Multiplayer and Blackout players. Remember, Zombies players only want one thing, and it's disgusting. Or the second option, the more optimistic HQ, likes to believe that this means that Zombies will somehow be getting tier progression sometime soon. For Zombies to be included within the tier progression systems that exist within Black Ops 4 right now is something that the players have rallied for and asked for since launch. There was huge petitions about this on Reddit. I've seen people asking for it on Twitter, and of course you guys here on YouTube. I think Treyarch's biggest failures in the past is their inability to keep Zombies players engaged between the extended period of time where Zombies players actually get new content, right? The time between when new maps actually drop. And I'm sorry to say that the sentiment in the community seems to be this: double XP and double Nebulium Plasma simply doesn't cut it anymore. The feeling I've seen from a lot of parts of the community is based on what this guy is saying. I won't, cause there ain't nothing left to do in Zombies until DLC 1 is out. This is obviously a player that Treyarch has failed to maintain playing their game. Now, before we talk more about what a possible Zombies tier progression would be like, let's discuss some of the endgame activities Treyarch has already announced but still aren't in the game for whatever reason. The most prominent of these relating to endgame activities, keeping players coming back day in and day out playing the game mode, is something they're calling callings, which is essentially challenges that when you complete the challenge, you earn a reward. Now, daily challenges aren't necessarily anything new. Black Ops 3 had them, and they were pretty boring on there. While we have generally minimal details about what these callings will actually turn out to be, it doesn't leave me optimistic that it'll be better than the tier progression that Multiplayer and Blackout is getting. But let's suppose for a second that Treyarch is going to listen to the community and add tier progression to zombies. Let's walk down that Fantasyland path to examine what tier progression in zombies might end up looking like. The first question we have to raise is, how do we actually earn tiers within zombies? In Multiplayer and Blackout, the main method of earning tiers is simply locked to playtime. It isn't really related into how good you do in a specific round of Blackout or a specific multiplayer match. It's simply how long have you been playing the game for. The question is, can that same system work in zombies? I think the answer is yes, but with some caveats. It seems to me that with the prominence of invincibility glitches that you can get into on every map, there's a bunch of spots, all basically using the Ragnarok DG5s to pounce up onto a location where the zombies can't get you. You could obviously exploit a hypothetical zombies tier system by just hopping up into that exploit spot, leaving your console or PC running for the day or 2 days, and just keep racking up the tiers. So it seems like the best way to prevent that would be to put a hard cap either on how many tiers you can earn per day or how many you can earn in one actual game of zombies. While this obviously wouldn't totally negate glitchers, it would definitely reduce the effectiveness of glitching to go through tiers. The second problem, which is also a problem in multiplayer, is the predominance of AFKers. Why the rubber band their controllers so the game doesn't kick them and basically just hang out doing nothing in multiplayer matches game after game in order to earn tiers. Treyarch is currently in the process of figuring out a better way to kick those players and make sure they aren't populating games, so hopefully once those measures are implemented, they would also be extended to zombies games as well, because AFK players in public zombies matches are just, if not more annoying than they are in multiplayer. Now let's talk about what you could actually earn within zombies tiers. The biggest question here is, should zombies actually have its own dedicated tier stream similar to what was demonstrated in the thumbnail? Or should it be totally inclusive, totally included with the regular content tier stream that, say, multiplayer has? It seems to me that a dedicated zombies tier stream would be much better suited to the possible rewards you can offer for completing tiers. For example, at one tier, the game will reward you with 30 Nebulium Plasma, enough for one low-cost spin within the laboratory. Maybe in another tier, there's a zombies weapon camo, or a face paint, or any of the other plethora of options that they now have within Black Ops 4 Zombies to personalize our characters with. This is the first game that we have genuine, detailed personalization menus within a zombies game to actually add cosmetic items within zombies. We've only seen it so far within the face paints, but I guarantee you Treyarch isn't going to stop at face paints. They're going to get more detailed and creative with this. That seems like it would be awesome to include within the zombies tier stream. Calling cards, both new and recycled from past zombies games, could be an awesome additions to Black Ops 4's tier stream, where they can add classic calling cards like Premise Rules or Home Sweet Home to some kind of late tier progression within the zombies stream to give players something to work towards. Of course, peppered within the stream of these specific items, Treyarch would have to kind of pad it out with the reserve boxes, which give you a whole manner of useless garbage, but are basically necessary to pad out the content within the tier stream. Now, I think it would be okay if they just kind of like supplemented the multiplayer reserves into zombies. It would be awesome if they made some of the things you actually get from those reserves, like gestures and spray paints, usable in zombies. Like if you hold down the triangle button on the PS4, maybe that opens up a gesture menu or something, where you can place your own spray paint somewhere on a zombies map or gesture to a friend in a game. And of course that brings us to the topic of signature weapons. These are the most coveted items within Black Ops 4 and probably will be throughout its duration. Currently, even if you roll or earn a signature weapon within the multiplayer mode, you can't use it in zombies, which is absolutely insane. So Treyarch would definitely have to figure out a way to make signature weapons playable within zombies. Now here's the thing, guys, and this is why I think this endgame content, this reason to keep players coming back, is so important to zombies. And it kind of has to do with what we know is coming within DLC 1 for zombies. The DLC 1 zombies map was leaked to be a chaos storyline map with possibly a totally new crew within that chaos storyline. Some of you may really enjoy the chaos storyline up to this point, but you have to admit it does not, absolutely not, have the same general popular appeal as the Ether storyline maps. While I'm excited for DLC 1, I'm not nearly as excited as I would be if it were in fact an Ether map, and I think a lot of you feel the same way. That's why these endgame reward systems are so important to keep players like myself engaged even through content that we might not be as interested in as other content coming later down the line. As the crashing issues for Black Ops 4 continuously get stabilized and fixed that we've seen in patch after patch, we've got to start asking, where are we going from here? Because as we've seen in the past, whether we like it or not, the best way to bring about change in this mode is to have us, the community, speak up about it.